Hi, my name is Jordan. I am a special education teacher from the UK. I share my passion for everything communication, sensory regulation and fun lesson ideas for my classroom of disabled pupils aged 4 to 11. Each week, I am joined by experts in the field, answering your questions and sharing our knowledge and experience working alongside our beautiful young people. Let's get started. Hello everybody and welcome to the Sensory Classroom podcast. My name is Jordan and today I am joined by Abby and Kirsty from Our Space, which is a Respite activity centre. And I was very keen to have them on because I have a history of being a foster carer, and we had a 10-year-old autistic boy who was out of school for the whole of the 10 months that we had him. And if it wasn't for our local Respite centre and activity centre, we wouldn't have lasted 10 months. We probably would have lasted about 3 weeks with him. And he would have lasted 3 weeks with us, should I say. Neither of us would have coped. It was very intense without the schooling. I was having to be parent, social worker, teacher, and all of those things. And those few hours after school time or a few hours on a Saturday really just gave us the respite we needed, which looked like days out with my husband, tidying the house, getting the shopping in, doing all the boring things so that I could be present with him and be everything he needed when he was with us. And so I'm a huge advocate for respite. So I'm very pleased that Our Space are here. Hello, girls.
Hi.
So it's Abby and Kirsty.
Yes, Abby, Kirsty.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about what Our Space is and where you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a little bit of a respite centre. It stems from working with schools and meeting their families, knowing that they needed something. So it's basically weekly activities. They can put them in for an hour in an evening to do their Tesco shop, that's get their nails done. And then we do arts and crafts on weekends, and then we offer every half term and holidays as much as we can, including bank holidays. We did a Christmas shopping day for parents so they could go do the Christmas shopping. So we just literally provide as much support for the families as possible. And we always say in a safe and nurturing environment. And that is as basic as it is, but it's so important.
What young people are you catering for? Could you describe the kind of cohort, if you will?
Yeah, absolutely. So our children are predominantly primary ages, they're kind of from 3-4, we take them from, and they all have some sort of additional needs. They do not have to have an EHCP, but they are always on a journey to that. So we've got children who are currently going through the assessments, doctor's appointments of kind of where they're at. So our children all have some sort of additional needs, whether it be autism, within the autism, the PDA, and how that looks. We've got children who are completely offset from school due to just simple anxieties of going into school. So that's kind of our cohort. It is primary ages with additional needs. Do not have to have a diagnosis, however, they're on a pathway to that.
Yeah, it just takes so long now, doesn't it? That's really great that that's not a barrier, because that would be a huge barrier for just so many needing families.
Yeah. And we're actually supporting them now on their journey, so we can give the evidence of what we see and the things that when they are at Our Space, they do tend to unmask. Yeah. Don't they, in that environment? So we can say this is what they're like at Our Space, and this is the difference to them in school, and they can all put that into the evidence to go forward for a diagnosis and an actual proper assessment on that. So that's been really helpful to some of the parents, because otherwise they just wouldn't have it. I know some respite only offer it with an EHCP, so we didn't want to put that another wall against them.
Yeah. Especially if they're out of school, you're a really important professional in the family's lives that can give an insight, can't you? If school can't, or if school don't have the big broad picture, if they're not seeing them all the time because their school refusing or it's suspended or whatever that looks like. What does your centre look like, Kirsty? Can you describe it for me?
It's full of pastel colours. We designed it, didn't we? We wanted it to be bright and colourful. And we've got a sensory room for those that want to be out of the way if they need to be. We've got our kitchen area where most of our messy play is. And then we've got a more activity room, haven't we? So free flow. So there's lots of activities in there that they can just free flow throughout the whole area.
Yeah, is that how you do it? It's quite child-led, it's free flow, and then you've got some kind of organised activities if they want to.
If they want to, yeah. Which we try to get them all involved in, don't we? But if they don't want to, that is totally fine. Some of them like to be independent and play on their own, which is fine, yeah.
Amazing. Also, so important about siblings as well. Last week, We had a sibling of somebody with a disability on, talking about her experience of being a sibling and how important respite came up a lot in that as well. Respite, so that they could spend time with their parents one-on-one, which is really important for the sibling, but also a place to go together. I don't know if you offer that, but a place to go together so they can share a safe experience together as a family, as a unit that they knew was safe and suitable for their disabled sibling, but also they could have fun too. Do you offer any kind of family-based things as well?
Yeah, so we do offer loads of family things. We've done parties with families there, and we stay in place if parents come in, and we've done parent catch up, cup of tea and catch up sort of things as well, without the children and with the children. With the sibling things is really interesting because we've got two children who are both have additional needs, but the mum puts them in separately so she can spend that individual time with each one, because together it's really tricky. And that's really interesting. Actually, she doesn't want them both there for respite. She wants one-on-one time with that child. So, and it's important they have their own club, what you're saying, that they come and it's their club, their friends that are there. They may not even talk to these other children, but they're there every week with the same children. It's familiar for them.
Yeah, it's familiar. It's safe. Yeah.
And that is kind of it. But yeah, the family things is really important. And we've said it from the beginning, haven't we? It being a family environment. We support them on their journeys no matter what. We often get messages from them on an evening like they've had a really rough night and they want to talk about it. They just want to rant to someone who understands. And we are them people. Do you know what I mean?
And we did a celebrations evening as well, didn't we? Where they invited the families as well, so the siblings could come along. And as Easter get together as well. We did an Easter get together with like Easter Bunny and stuff. So yeah, the families all come together for that, which is nice to see.
And they start talking, don't they, to each other and sort of saying to each other, I don't really dare go to play gyms and I don't dare do this and I don't dare do that. Whereas they can come to ours and it can be as chaotic as they want and they know we all just get it. Like you've got, you know, if someone's in crisis, the other parents just understand and there's no embarrassment, no shame. And it's, don't get me wrong, it takes a while to develop that atmosphere and environment to parents. We constantly have to say, don't worry, we understand, just it's fine. And other parents do vocally speak up and say that as well. But I think that's a natural instinct in all parents, in it, to panic if their child goes into crisis or you know they're going to have a meltdown.
Every other environment ever in their whole life they're judged and made to feel shameful and like they shouldn't be out and about in the world. So it must be really alien and really lovely, but alien probably at first, to feel like they're accepted.
But they really are accepted in our space and with the other families. Every single one of them is accepted and they're all so different as well. You know, they're so different. And I think that's been a massive journey for us in terms of Respite, is welcoming them, because it's not the same as an after school club where they can all book on. We have to timetable these children. We've got certain children who just wouldn't be able to be together, and we've got children that actually would really benefit each other of being together. So we've got to, it takes such a long time to really timetable it. But we don't want to ever say no. We don't want to say no to the parents because that's the worst option, but they really need it. So
yeah, I know firsthand that feeling for sure. It was an absolute lifeline, I have to say. It was a real lifeline. And he loved it as well. So there was also no worry there or guilt for me thinking, oh, it's my time. You know, it was both of our time. We were both getting what we needed, and that separation was equally important. You mentioned at the beginning like a bit about why you got into it, about school, and that you noticed a need for respite. Could you talk a little bit about your initial thoughts and ideas around that, and why this came to be, what you saw happening in school?
Yeah, so we worked within a primary school for quite some time, didn't we? And then quite recently, a few years ago, they made like a provision for SEN children. And there were always SEN children throughout the school, but nothing in particular for them. So then we had a handful of children that started in there, and we found ourselves drawn to that, didn't we? We used to go in even on his breaks and stuff. And yeah, we really enjoyed like working with those children. And then it was seeing the parents when they were picking them up or dropping them off in the morning, if they'd had a bit of a dysregulated morning and things. And knowing that they had to go home then to it again. So we felt like there were a huge need and we had a lot of passion for it. So yeah, that's where it really stems from.
Yeah, it was. It genuinely was the meeting the families. And I'm a mum and I know how long the evenings are from 3:30 till 7 o'clock of, like providing them with activities to do and keeping them entertained. And if they're just a little bit off that evening, it's such a long evening. But my little girl can go to dancing, she can go to gymnastics, she can go. For these children, they can't go access a mainstream club. It's too overwhelming for them. They just can't cope with it. So I was like, these poor parents have got nowhere to take them on an evening, or even just to feel their child fits into a certain place. So yes, it's respite, of course it is, but it's vital for the families and children to feel that sort of neurotypical club, where actually it's not neurotypical, it's completely the opposite, but they feel like it is, because they're just dropping the kids off at a club. We love them, we create so many different activities for them, and parents can go and sit and have a coffee. They can do whatever they want for that hour. And what I find as well, parents making excuses is, so I'm going to go home and I'm clean, I'm going to do this, and I think, go home and sit down. Do nothing, because it is so hard when you've got the children. Do you know what I mean? From a mum's point of view as well, do nothing, because we love having your kids, and we do. I don't have to make any excuses for them being with us. So that's it. All stemmed from meeting the families, and them just not having that extra support on an evening and weekend as soon as the kids are out of school.
And that was first saying, want it just to do the odd evening, want it an hour each.
How many children have you got access in your setting?
So it's
Over 30 families,
Amazing.
We started off with about 3 children, didn't we? Yeah. But it soon, very quickly, it grew.
I think it was the opening evenings. We did an opening evening because we always say it's really important that the families come to meet us and we meet the families before they book anything, just to make sure that they're happy with us. They're so protective over the children, as every single parent is. So they've got to be happy with who they're sending the children to. So we did like an opening evening for them to come and meet us. And the amount of people walking through the door, I said to Kirsty, I cannot believe there is not things around here for these parents. I felt really emotional that they really needed this.
Yeah, we knew they needed it, but I don't think we knew how much they needed it, how much interest they would have.
Because they're very unseen, aren't they? If they don't feel safe and like the outside world is safe for their children, then they're indoor families. So we don't see them out and about. You won't know how many there are or the need until you create a provision like this and you see there is such a huge need out there, all different sorts of families that are seeking this. I have had some parents though in the past, I don't know what you would say to this, that I have suggested respite and they've been really nervous about it, of all ages. Some of them because, oh no, they're too young, or oh no, like I'm fine, like I'd rather me struggle than, like, I wouldn't want to put that burden on anyone else. That's another thought that I'm getting. And also just the fear of trusting someone else with their precious child who is very complex, either poorly or, behavioral or sensory wise or whatever. They're quite complex and need them. They're the only ones that can meet their needs. Even family members can't meet their needs. Even family members haven't looked after them without them. They might have never had a night apart and they might be 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm hearing that. What would you say to reassure those parents, or what do you offer in order to support them to transition and enter a setting like yours?
It's really important we take it at their speed, because we have 100% had this, where we're actually saying to the parents, this child could benefit so much from being in a small group, and they say they just won't cope. And I'm like, just trust us. I feel like I say that all the time. Please just trust us, because I promise you they will, and I promise you we will do everything in our power to create strategies for them to be able to cope. We're not just 2 random girls who have gone, I love these kids, let's get we've done the training. We're so clued up on little things. Every single child's different, and we would work towards that specific child. So it's just reassuring them as much as we can. But I don't think you can fully reassure them until they start doing it. I think until they're ready, you can't talk them into it until they just trial one of the sessions. We had one mum, didn't we? Are you thinking of the same parent?
She messaged us, didn't she? She wanted to see what we're about. She came, I think, to a meet and greet as well, didn't she? But I think she was still nervous. And then recently we've started going into that child's school, working with a different child. And it just so happened one day that we managed to do a session with her, didn't we? And then, now she comes to our holiday clubs, and we felt
all day, every day,
all day. I feel like we've built that trust. So it's nice.
Amazing.
But she used to say things like, nobody understands her like I do. And which is true, nobody understands their child like their own. You can tell by the way they breathe sometimes that they're just not quite right. But I always say, but we'll learn, and we have like like a profile passport sort of thing. We make it as fun and quirky as we can because we think they're filling so many boring papers every single day. We've tried to make ours really fun. But I always say, put what you want on there. But it's so important that we learn about them ourselves, from the beginning. Yes, if they don't like water, tell us they don't like water. We're not going to start throwing water around. But sometimes they'll say they hate messy play, but when they're with us, they actually enjoy it. So I say, just let us learn about them a little bit as well. And if they were to get dysregulated, we can totally sort that out. Please trust us. So it is just until they take the first step into it and realize how important it is and how much they've not been themselves for 4 or 5 years. They've just been little Jimmy's mum. Now, actually, they are themselves again. They can be not just mum, they could be something else as well. And seeing them do hobbies, and seeing them actually spend time with their partners, going out. I seen that they'd gone out for brunch. One couple had gone out for brunch that day, and it really it hurts your heart, doesn't it? Because you're like, they've actually gone out for brunch and they're having drinks and they're enjoying themselves. And while we've got their little precious human that you say, and they're having the best time. And we do take a lot of photos and videos and send them, and that's really important to us that they get that constant update if they want it. So I think until you put your toe in our space water, then you'll run with it, and you just learn to trust as you go along as well, don't you?
What does your in-school support look like? Because did you say you do it in school as well?
So we go and do we could do one-to-one intensive interactions, or we do group sessions just on their abilities as well. We have varied groups, don't we? And then we do free flow activities with them, sensory play, also to have the respite for the staff as well, because so many times we're going to schools, don't we, and they're just looking after a full class but with these other children. It's nice that they get our full attention as well.
They get that the people go in that understand them and know what they need. But I think that's something I feel really passionate about them in. It is mainstream schools inundated with children with additional needs who necessarily need a different provision but just can't access it at the moment while the battle of fighting it. And the staff they're absolutely exhausted. They're exhausted because they're trying their best to give everything they can to the class in general, then the additional needs that they've got in that classroom, and actually they're exhausted and they need. The thing is, for me, if that teacher hasn't got that respite, how can they be the best of their abilities to the children that really need it? And the children deserve it. So we go in and give them that sort of a full afternoon. They can focus on what they need to focus on, and then they can have that little bit of a well-being check to then next day be back in and give the children what they need and deserve, because they don't just deserve to be in a corner playing. They deserve to have the structure, the timetables, the staffing, and I feel so passionate about that. And so the fact that schools are reaching out for respite for their team, I thought was just unbelievable, really.
One of the first primary schools we went to, they felt guilty that they were working with a child that they didn't know what to do. They're like, we really love this child, but we've not been shown what to do or how to handle it. And it was really sad to see, because we knew that us going in just made them a little bit more excited, so we could offer that to them, which were really nice for us to see.
Yeah, and they could almost see what you do as well. It offers them respite. It also offers them a bit of hands-on training, really, doesn't it? They could watch what you do, how you interact with them, and get some ideas. So you're leaving, it's not just a one-off plaster. You're actually making real change, long-lasting change.
CPD is really important, isn't it, in that environment as well? And I always just say, just sit back and just watch and look how we talk, look at the activities we do, and then we'll often send them a massive rundown afterwards. I think they just think we're absolutely crazy at the times, but when you actually do it, and I say, please just be consistent with it and be crazy, be weird, because that's what they need. They need someone that's kind of so excited about the activities that they're doing.
You just do it without realising now, don't you? I remember the first time we started intensive interactions, we were like, oh God, I feel so silly. But now you
naturally
talk
all day, don't you? Yeah. You kind of intensive interactions, we used to do it as a set session, which I still would. I'd structure it in a class because it's intense for the children and it's tiring for the children. But I think you naturally dip in and out of it all day anyway. And that's what I said to the staff and the team that they're working with. The word respite in schools, I don't think is used enough. I think they need it. I think all the staff need that respite, especially if they're working with children with so many complex different needs that they need to cater for. And for us to just jump in and give them that afternoon, I think they really look forward to it as well. So, oh, we can do this and this and this, and because that child really struggles in that area, we can actually input that on that day while Abby and Kirsty are in. And as we walk down the corridor, sometimes they're like, thank goodness you're here this afternoon. It's been great.
Something I have never heard of, but it makes so much sense. I really do think it would help combat the absences and sickness because of pure exhaustion and burnout as well. I'm sure you're keeping the team up and going. And actually, sometimes it's quite nice just to have an afternoon off to remember you missed them and remember why you're doing it, and remember, actually I do quite like it actually, whereas when you're in it sometimes it's easy to forget that and kind of get lost in the chaos of it all, and you kind of lose your purpose. But seeing you guys coming refreshed must give them a spark,
a nice reset.
And also just to show them like there are people out there as well who are so excited about these children and that we want to input all this. And I think you bounce off each other a bit more as well as a team. So this support staff was walking around after me the other day and she went, oh, I just want to walk around with you all day and watch what you do. You know, she said, I just want to watch you with this child. And because I think one of those things is she's gone in to be a support staff and ended up one-to-one with a child, and she's learning and she's on a journey herself to find out about this child. So she was like, I just want to watch you all day. I'm coming around with you all day. So it's just nice that actually we are benefiting the staff when we go in.
And it's quite an isolating job being a one-to-one. I feel like that's where a specialist provision is easier in a way, because at least you've got a team around you that you can bounce off and swap with. But actually these one-to-one teaching assistants in mainstream schools, it's often just them and the child, and often they're with them for a really long time and it's just them for years and years and years. And it can be really isolating and really lonely in the corridors of these schools, which they often end up in. So just knowing there's a team out there that are rooting for them, supporting them, see them, tell them what a great job they're doing, give them that respite, must feel so good.
And that's an absolute credit to the Sencos as well, because they're the ones reaching out to us saying, I haven't got all of this money to give them the extra support and help and resources, but I have got this to give them, so that, because I feel like they're really struggling to keep them going. And if they go, look, I'm going to get our space in, they're going to come in twice a week. So that's credit to the Sencos of recognising that their team need respite, which again, exactly what you've just said. I don't think the word respite is used in schools, because how dare the staff have respite? You know, like how dare they have a break from any child, because they should love and they do. They're so passionate about them. But like you said, they need that little bit of time to remember, I really wish that that child was back in here. You know, if they have a day off, when we miss them, we don't come to respite. So it is so important. I just don't think it's a thing yet, but I think slowly within mainstream, especially with the children with additional needs, it's going to become more needed, and we're totally here for it. Like totally here for it.
Yeah, you wouldn't feel burnout or exhaustion if you didn't love the children and were doing your best for them.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be a really easy job to just put YouTube. I say this often actually. It'd be a really easy job to just put Cocomelon on YouTube and give them a load of fidgets and let them do their own thing and let them have their own way and let them, you know, all of that kind of thing. And that would be really easy, but it wouldn't be the loving thing to do. You know, it's because you love. No, exactly. It's because you care for them, love them, want the best for them, that you're getting burnt out because you're trying to do so much, which is awesome. But yeah, then you do need respite. Who's paying for this service? Is it the schools and the parents, or?
Yeah, so that's another wall we've come to at times, because obviously the funding, the grants, it's all such a battle to get, which we absolutely are on that battle. We will get there. But the parents and families pay for the respite with us because it's a private company at the moment. I do have a CIC company that runs along, so that's why we're going through all the bids and grants and things through that. But again, it's just a journey. And then the schools themselves pay for us to go into the schools. So some schools have very little budgeting for the children for EHCPs and things, whereas some schools have more, which is so much more beneficial to them. But yeah, that it's something, sometimes it just doesn't feel quite right, does it?
No.
With the families. And that's something I think does upset us at times, is them paying for it. I really do struggle with that, because it's a passion and a love, but it's our livelihood. So you kind of go, this is our respite centre, and then it just sometimes doesn't sit right with families paying.
Any child pays for clubs,
right?
And there is that understanding. I mean, I never minded as a foster carer. I was under the understanding he needed a one-to-one support. That comes at a cost. It was a reduced cost. Maybe that's where you look at. But ultimately, I was just happy that it existed and I wanted to support it because so it continued. But yeah, is that the dream? Like, what is the dream for our space? If you had, you know, ability and no barriers as far as, what would funding look like? What would your resource base and setting look like? What would you offer? What's the dream?
So we went to like a horror house the other day. When I say horror house, so basically the school we're working at, they have a caretaker's house and it's been there for years and it's derelict. And he is desperate to get it up and running for the community. And he came to us. He said, just go and have a look round, go and have a look round. It was the scariest event I've ever been part of. It was derelict. The dream is it was a massive 4-bed house, wasn't it? And to turn that into a respite centre. But we really want a send preschool, and because the children are within nurseries and things and preschools that have got send, obviously they've not got the EHCPs just yet, they're not on that journey yet, but to recognise that and have them at our space classroom would be an absolute dream. And also we're going down to London in the next couple of weeks to St Almond Street to work with some of the children within there who have got sort of some serious illnesses and they're not in school and they're in things, so to go and work with some of them children, so not just necessarily respite for children with additional needs, but actually needs that out of their hands and things. I went to Yorkshire Cancer Research yesterday. I do a lot of charity things for there, and I mentioned to the lady there, these families need some respite for their children when they're going through chemo and things like that. So it's not just additional needs and send needs, it is needs in general.
Yeah,
that child has these needs and they need us. So the pipe dream is to cover as much as we physically can.
Community,
But I think that is the pipe dream is a big and massive respite centre. That we've got
preschool and
daytime, evenings, a lovely little small team, because we've got 2 other ladies that work with us who are absolutely amazing. We don't want anything too big because you just want to know they're all providing the same care as you. But that is the dream. And I honestly think I do think it's massively doable. I think
it's very realistic. It's fun. Yeah, absolutely. And there are people out there doing it, but not in every area. And that's what we need as well, isn't it? We need this widespread so that these offers are accessible for everyone.
Yeah, it's a different business, isn't it? You're not. I own a dance school, so my background is I was trained as a dancer, which is such a random journey to come onto. But it's competitive, whereas this isn't. You want people popping up, and you want to support each other, and you want to say like, "Oh, you doing that, and I'm doing that, and we'll work together." We had some ladies from. Were they from? Sorry, have I just made that up?
No, I think they were. Yeah, and social media
just messaged and said, "Can we get on a Zoom and just to help each other the ideas?" And no, it's not a competitive industry. It is, you're doing it because you love it.
We all want more. We'll all be better off if there's just more of this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
why I share so openly as well, actually. Yeah, it is. There's no competition. Please, let's do more of this.
Yeah. And you all need each other's help constantly.
Yeah.
You learn from each other. It's a job that you learn every single day. Respite, the word respite is just huge. I can't say the word respite enough to people. You need respite. I say it to everyone all the time. And they do. There's a lot of guilt there. You said that yesterday, didn't you? One of the challenges for parents is that pure guilt of dropping them off and not, someone else looking after their children. But actually, exactly what you just said as well. My little girl would go to a club for a day because I want her to. I want her to have experience, and she's been up all night. I need some rest, So I always say that to everyone. I compare myself to me and my little girl. Is I need this, so you need this. So let's work together and do it.
Yeah, this isn't a failure in you not coping. This is just parenting child. Child wants an activity centre to be with friends, to have fun, and the benefit, almost the caveat of that is, you also get some time.
Yeah, and it's a bonus, isn't it? So we had a child that went into quite bad crisis at one of our last camps, and her mum afterwards was like, right, it's fine. If you don't want her to come back, it's totally. We were like, absolutely, that is not an option. You're going to take her home because she needs to, regulate herself, and you're going to bring her back this afternoon. We're going to have restorative with the children, with your child, with us, because that for her mental health would not have been good at all to walk away from that and never come back to it. That's not what we're about at all, is it? So we do this job for those reasons, and you still need that respite. So you're bringing it back this afternoon, we'll do the restorative, we'll do all of that. But the fact that she thought that was an option, like,
because that would have been her experiences up until now.
yeah,
that you have one blip, one crisis moment, and that's the door shut. So I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah,
that
is
it's like a fear of safety, red tape, insurance, and actually sometimes you just need restorative care. Sometimes you just need time, a little bit of a break, and then you can go back in it again. And it's really lovely that you're proving that works.
Oh yeah, she's still with us. She's the funniest.
She loves it. It's just she struggles, doesn't she? Sometimes
really struggles.
But it's not personal.
Yeah, we've had to adapt. We've had to change.
Yeah.
You know, it's not for her to adapt and change. She's on a journey to learn and find different strategies and things. But that's our job, you know, to kind of go, oh, she don't work with that, so we need to do that. It's not our job to close the door on her family and say, this is for you to deal with now. It's absolutely a whole family and our space thing. It's a circle. I think I use that word all the time. We're a circle. We're respite. We support the families. We now want to go in and support that student in the school. So it's a full circle that we want him to do, not just a section of it and then everyone else deals with everything else. Let's all do the full circle. Let's try and jump on. Yeah,
I love that. I really love that. But for people listening to this, I've got lots of parents and teachers that might be in your local area. So where can they find out more about, maybe they want to set up their own thing and they need support from you, or maybe they're local to you and they want to access your settings. So where can they find you?
So we're based in Bradford in the Wibsey area at Odsall. We're obviously on social media. We've got us on TikTok. That's where most of our families have been contacting us. A lot of people contacting us to learn what we do because they want to do it. So we said we were going to do maybe a Zoom call, won't we?
Just have a chat how we got it started.
We're going to organise some more family catch-ups and things like that. We've been in contact with someone, Bradford... Centralam, yeah. So they do something similar, but they take the families out with the children.
Okay.
So we were going to get involved with them and speak to more parents and things like that.
Great.
When we went to that event, quite a few people knew us, didn't they? From
that. Yeah. So we're not just we're not aiming for Bradford and Wibsey area. If you are in West Yorkshire and you want to drive and travel, we want, you know, as many families that we can support is the aim. We have even said we would go and travel to them to give them that respite if they were, you know, far away and they really needed it. So that's definitely social media is where you would find us. I think that's where you find everyone these days. And contact us.
What's your Instagram handle?
Just Our Space Respite, isn't it? Yeah.
Our Space Respite everywhere. Amazing. Thank you so much both for joining and enlightening and reminding everybody the importance of respite for us, for them, in school, out of school. All so important. And I really hope that whether if they're close to you, they reach out to you for sure. And if you're not close to the West Yorkshire area, then maybe there might be an offer locally to you. So maybe ask other parents that you know or the school that you know they might know, or have a little Google search and see if there's a respite centre near that you could access.
Let's get more respite out there. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, both.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Bye.